future. And please come to us and present us your proposals. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Ben. I'm working for EKU. Sorry, Manuel was sick. But yeah, so I work as a technical sales engineer in the US. And
my name is Duško Mitrovic, and I'm the system architect and electrical engineer for EKU Power Drives.
OK, so no. Do you have OK.
That's working.
OK. So to start the race to net zero, we're going to show you a cool video. It's 1 minute long, and it will tell you a little bit about where we come from and what we can do. So yeah, that's one of the cool things we are doing. Most of our engineers are come from this green team at the University of Stuttgart, including Duško here. And we have some locations in the US as well, and a lot of customers around the world. But our goal here is to bring German automation and automotive engineering to mobile equipment and machinery. And we do that also by saving emissions and reducing emissions. And that gives you an idea of the scale of what we are doing currently for our customers. And we are scaling that pretty heavily. So on the race to net zero, because everything we do it as a race car. So we're going to talk about laps for phases. And if you want to start in the pole position, you need to act right now. And that goes for immediate emission reduction solutions and avoidance that you can actually implement today. That goes with retrofit on diesel engines, adding some battery in there and some smart automation. Then in the second lap, we can look at other fuel types and renewable fuels or hydrogen, green hydrogen and all of that, increase the automation availability and go towards more like hybrid machines. And then the lap 3, by 2050, for example, will be to reduce those emissions, scope 1 and 2, to 0, and offset whatever is left of those emissions.
Yeah, before we start looking into our most recent projects, what we usually do before we even start replacing equipment, looking for new solutions and so on, we install data acquisition systems and analyze the data, and we use therefore our platform that we are developing, the so-called the Sophia system, where we can track the performance of the existing machinery that is already in the field at customers. We try to recommend, prepare recommendations, look at the data, analyze it, and create reports for customers so that we can better understand on what would be the first steps for a phase-in into looking into more efficient technologies. Using this data, in one of our most recent projects is the mining application. So we're looking at big mining trucks where we want to reduce the idle times that they count in a normal mining process. So if you look at the graph, we have like a loading, hauling, queuing, dumping process. And in some of those steps, there are parts where the engine or the prime mover is simply not used for the actual application. So especially at this big machinery, it gets a little bit more complicated because a lot of auxiliaries and other components within the systems need to be maintained while you shut off the engine. And we look at exactly into those, and we are using a product called the engine standby controller that we developed for the oil and gas industry first, and use it now for the mining industry, where we can retrofit existing machines with a start-stop idle management system to basically reduce in the first step those idle times that account in queuing processes or any other steps that can come up within such a system.
So that's only the first lap, and that gives you an idea of how much we're able to save on that type of application in a mining haul truck. If it's idling around like 30 to 35% of the time, over a year, that can amount to like 51,000 liters of diesel that we actually saved, which is equivalent to about like 170 metric tons of carbon. And what's important here is that that's an immediate solution that gets you emission reductions directly today. And we also extend the lifetime of the engine, and everything is very economical, so you can have a project that's both with having like a quick net present value and reducing emissions at the same time today.
Looking at the lab 2, the phase 2, with the phase-in, we first looked at the prime movers. Now we look at all the auxiliaries that are within such systems, and also on the construction side in general. And with this first step of introducing a controller, this data acquisition systems, we're now able to provide additional technologies by electrifying auxiliaries, by automating other processes in the construction site, and also by lowering the demand that is needed of installed power within those systems by using buffering systems for peak shaving and other steps. And we do that all with the technologies that we already introduced also in other industries like the oil and gas industry. And here are just some project snippets where we are looking into it. One important one that we want to achieve is, and that we're working on currently, is also this phase 2 mining electrification, where we want to build a so-called mild hybrid system, where basically the engine is shut off while the mining trucks are driving downhill. And that comes with a lot of additional efforts that need to be made in such systems. And that's why it's so important to also have the data for those kind of systems. And in phase 3, when we achieved all of those things, we will be able to, with all those different steps, and by also introducing new trucks, different equipment that works from grid power, that works with power generation based on e-fuels, hydrogen, where we can use power banks within those systems, where we can use the space that is already there to install solar roofs, and also other systems to provide basically smart power management and be able to optimize and fully automate this whole grid to reach that goal to net zero for our customers.
Yeah, and that's all. So if you want to see a live demo of Sophia, we have a booth here in B0. And if you want to see one of the battery system we have installed, we have about like 400 to 500 of them all around the world, and we have one in A3 at that booth location.
Yep.
Thank you.